We've got her back on the blower. Super W Tars, premiership winning skipper. Not from this year, obviously, but the last couple of years. Sorry to bring that up for you, Grace. I'm sure that's a bit of a sore point, but it's Grace Hamilton, everybody.
Woo! Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We lost you there for a little bit before you came live, so you're all good. You're on the blower now, but thanks very much for joining us. We know you've been flat out. We've been trying to get you on the blower for a few weeks, but I mean, you guys have, the girls have had their first couple of tests for the first time in 3 years. You must be absolutely chuffed to finally be back on the pitch.
Yeah, look, it's been a long time between games. So, yeah, we were stoked to get out there and get some test matches under the belt.
Grace, Dallin here. How you going? How's the preparation going leading into the World Cup? What does the next kind of couple of months look like for you guys, and how's the I guess the morale amongst the group?
Yeah, good. We go to actually up to the Gold Coast on Friday for a little bit of camp before we head to New Zealand. Play the New Zealand, the USA, and Canada. So pretty tough test matches coming up. So I think anyone will attest to that. We have to bring the next level. Losing to Japan probably wasn't the best thing for us, but yeah, we'll be looking forward to it.
Awesome. And who's the big, I guess, fish in this World Cup? Who's the team to beat? Is it New Zealand?
No, I think it's England now.
England.
Oh gosh, I've just lost an AirPod. Yeah, England. England is so good right now. So England and probably France.
Well, England are nearly 20-odd games on the trot, aren't they? And they deleted the Kiwi side in 2 consecutive
Portia
matches.
Woodman getting literally in and away by the England winger on one of the tests.
I know. But they do have Wayne Smith now. So New Zealand have just recruited Wayne Smith in there, so I'm sure he'll be able to turn them around in no time.
Wow. Good. Yes, so Grace, Freeney here. How are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good. Yeah, so with that Japanese test, that was they were relentless, weren't they? Did anyone expect that?
We did watch them play Fiji, so we should have really expected that. But just their skills, their like catches, their passes right in front. They're always running into the ball, and us going wide didn't help us in any way. So we really should have gone through them.
Yes. Yeah. Also, few big personalities in the Wallaroos camp. Who would be the biggest pest or character?
And why is it Laurie Kramer?
Yeah, it might be her, to be fair. But actually, a girl that was in there who you didn't see, who was in there for rehab, Maya was in there. Yeah. Maya Stewart was in there just for the laughs. So I definitely will miss her because she's not coming on the next tour. I actually just spoke to her and I was like, what am I going to do? Who's going to make us laugh?
Yeah, so last question. Sorry, I just cut you off, didn't I? When you said Maya, I panicked again, didn't I, boys?
Freeney's new to this. Sorry, Grace. He's very new to this. You're not the first one he's been awkward.
Yeah, I've literally dropped the ball every week.
Every single time.
You didn't pick the ball up.
I don't know, mate. Sorry, mate. Yeah. Anyway, so with the new test series, obviously, who's going to be the hardest? Is it New Zealand still, or is America or anyone going to be a bit of a random one thrown in the mix?
I don't know. I think New Zealand will be tough, but Canada, played them. I haven't played them since the last World Cup. They were quite relentless then. And they get around their girls. They a bit of support around their country. So I think they'll be pretty good too.
Hopefully you girls get to go to Europe or something and tour against, England or France. Those crowds are insane, aren't they?
I know, but the issue is everything we play this year is in New Zealand. I would love it if it was in the UK.
Yeah.
Grace, Big Fat Dars here. In 2020, you played down at the Roosters. Did you ever meet Jared Wareya-Hargraves? And is he as angry in person as he looks like during game day?
I actually didn't because there was a bit of COVID around at the time. They kept us pretty separate.
He's probably pretty angry.
I know, but I trained in their gym. I have heard some stories about him.
Go on, this is what we want. More stories.
No, they wanted me to channel they were channel your inner him, and I was like, I don't know if I can be him.
Gotta get a Kiwi accent first, and then
yeah.
Oh, cheer, boo. Well, one thing, that actually segues into what I wanted to ask you, Grace. We've seen just recently Millie Boyle. She was obviously an Aussie representative in rugby union. She recently won the Player of the Year for the NRLW this season, and just this week, alongside Tamika Upton, has signed a $100,000 contract with the Newcastle Knights. There's been a huge expansion in the NRLW as well as the AFLW, with $26 million in the AFL game being pumped into salaries for players. I mean, there's no denying that there's a huge disparity in payment between the NRLW, Super W, and AFLW. I want to get your thoughts on it, like, seeing the growth of the women's game in those two codes compared to, I guess, financial growth in Super W. Does that, for lack of a better term, make it harder to stay in the game, considering?
Yeah, I think so. I actually had, straight after that, I had breakfast with Millie the day after. And we were talking about it. I was like, the last game we played at Wallaroos, she was involved. And I was like, and then we've only just played one more. And she was just like, she is a big supporter of rugby league and wants everyone to go to rugby league. But I don't know, the girls that are in union at the moment want to stay in union. I just hope that Australian rugby gets around the girls to, actually put them in a financial place where they can stay in the game, because the amount of money league and AFL are giving girls now is life-changing. And I think it's more like that could be a house deposit or something like that. Like, it will change your life, especially in women's sport. So I'm hoping we'll get there. And I think with the World Cup now being in Australia, there definitely will be pumping some more resources into the women's game. I just hope it's faster than it has been.
Bloody oath, because, you can only play for so long for a free sausage roll and a Powerade. Bloody
Well,
hell.
I guess they got the one thing they can tour around the world a bit more than the league players. So
If you're making $100,000 a year, you can buy
Yeah.
your own ticket to Hawaii for us.
Mate, take it to Hawaii.
To be fair, their World Cup is in England this year, so they were saying that.
I'll
They
eat
were
my
like,
hat.
You guys could just all come play that.
But outside of that, we've seen players like Emma Tonegado go over to the game. Charlotte Kaslik and Elliot Green also went over. Do you think, like, we saw the investment in the Aussie Sevens side about 5 or 6 years ago, and the girls obviously went on to get that Olympic gold. Do you think that's something that, with the right investment, the Aussie women's side could start matching it alongside the English and the Kiwis and stuff on a very regular basis?
Yeah, definitely. I just think that, the investment has to be there. And the English Premier League right now, like, they're already, like, calling girls over here to come play with them next year. And for us girls, it's a massive opportunity to be able to stay in the game and go play overseas. It's huge. Like, we never thought we'd have that opportunity. So I definitely think a few girls will be playing in that English Premier League next year. But, I don't know. Like, I think it's just got to happen quickly, and it's got to happen from the top. And if we don't do it quickly, then I think we'll lose a lot of girls, which is not something we want to do.
Yeah, agreed.
Having been a part of both systems and the NRL and now obviously the Australian Rugby Union, what do we as a code need to do in that space besides the investment of money? Like, what is the NRL, I guess, let's say that they're the cornerstone. What does the Australian Rugby need to do to push the game and build the game?
I think it's just like getting the exposure out there. I think, like, I didn't realize that, like, the coaching and the programs are really quite similar in what you do, but there was just so much exposure. Like, I live in Orange, a little country town, and there's more people. I've been playing rugby union for 10 years, and there's more people know me now because I played for the Roosters for 3 games than I have, like, in 10 years. So it's like, it's just wild, the exposure, and they just keep, even though it's a short competition, they just keep giving girls a voice and a platform to be an athlete within Australia. And I think that's something we definitely can push better within union as well.
They definitely got around the girls a lot more in the league, didn't they? It's like literally the same playing field. There wasn't like any disparity at all, really, like with the exposure and stuff, wasn't there? Do you reckon for the World Cup they might have a couple of ring-ins from the league?
I actually have been like, girls, come play with us. Because a lot of the girls playing league now are actually from union backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I don't know
Heaps.
I don't know if they will. I think it's a bit tough because it clashes a little bit this year. But I always say that, like, I'm like the Sevens girls, spoken to a few of them. I know a few of them will probably come back, which is good. But yeah, I don't know if anyone will come for league, but I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah, well, yeah, like Ivani Polides and Tony Gardos and stuff. You could probably, you wouldn't say no, would you? If they came
No,
back to
definitely
Union,
not.
they're carving in league.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I wouldn't say no to a lot of people, so we'll see.
Me neither. Well, Grace, as well, I wanted to get your thoughts. You've got the Pacific 4 coming up. As you said, you haven't played too many Wallaroos tests, but you've got 4 tests coming up. You've got a World Cup at the end of this year. You haven't played for 3 years. Do you think the lack of games compared to sort of the Northern Hemisphere code is also a major issue?
Yeah, it's like wild to think about. I think Liz Partu became the most capped Wallaroo, and she's got 25 games under her belt. And you've got the English team girls; they've got 150 games, like they're running out to the 150 games, and Wallaroos have played 54, I think. So, yeah, there's a massive disparity. Yeah, that's ever. So, it's like this massive disparity of us and around the world, and just we need to play more games, and that's why COVID happened at the worst time for us, because it was like we were about to.
It was
get
starting
like
to build, wasn't it?
matches a year, yeah, and then it kind of just was like, all right, well, no, now you can't play. But this year we play a lot, but it's just unfortunate the World Cup is literally within reaching distance, and we've only just started playing games. So it'll be tough, but
not take any anything away from the Japanese effort in the win there, but I think that's like proof that you need to play more tests. You need to get that game time and combinations together. To put your best foot forward. Like I said, not putting anything against the Japanese, but if you're not playing for 3 years, that affects the girls' preparation like crazily, especially in the World Cup year.
Yeah, we were the only nation actually last year. So everyone else went on a Northern Hemisphere tour. We were the only nation that didn't go up in that that qualified. So like Japan was over there, New Zealand, and every other country apart from us. So I think that it was a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of us, because we were like, we wish we were there, but we've just got to take it with a grain of salt now and just kind of push forward. We'll play New Zealand 3 times before we verse them at Eden Park in the World Cup. So we've got the Bledisloe Test match after this PAC 4 as well. So hopefully we'll know their tricks by then.
Yeah. Sick. That's going to be red hot playing the Kiwis at Eden Park. One thing I wanted to get your thoughts on, Grace. I don't know if you saw, but a few weeks ago, Amanai Fasavalu from the Western Sydney 2 Blues, a mother of 13, I think it was, came out of retirement to play a footy match alongside 4 of her daughters, I think, against West Harbour Pirates. That's the sort of shit that is just so awesome to see within the women's game. Not so much just that there's 4 daughters playing, but they're second-generation women's players. Like that right there is something that, in my opinion, Rugby Australia, granted awesome. They did sort of put it as an article, but they should have been getting around Amanai and her family in a massive way. That's terrific.
100%. I actually didn't even know that. I wish I knew that. That's such a good story. But like things like that, like it's just unreal to see. And I was talking to Millie the other day, and she was like, in league, they've now put in a thing that girls like leave for having children, and how they support girls coming back from having children. And just little things like that is like, I don't think we think about, like, there's definitely a certain time in our life, like I'm getting older, I'm like, there's that time where you're like, okay, do you go and have kids, or do you play rugby, or what do you do? Like, it's like, yeah, it's a really hard transition, I think, that definitely needs some more support around.
Bloody oath. Couldn't agree more. Well, I mean, look at what Emily Cherry's done. She's and now Alicia Quirk is in the same boat. They're both looking to come back on the comeback trail. It's got to be absolutely monumental for them, and like, it's got to be difficult enough, let alone not being paid to do it. So, I mean, hopefully we can start getting the girls a bit of cash. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see. But like, yeah, there's good stories that we need to get around in the women's game, and I think that's something that we really can dig into, get those girls the exposure, and great stories. Positive stories around rugby is what we need.
Exactly right.
Damn straight. Bless you, Grace. Well, wonderful. It's been awesome to finally get you on the blower. It's been 3 or 4 weeks in the making, but it's great to have finally had you on the blower to get your thoughts on it. It's been absolutely terrific, and we cannot wait to cheer you and the girls on at the PAC 4 and the World Cup later on this year. So all the best with it. We'll chat to you very shortly.
Yeah, the girls.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I thought I'd get stitched up a bit more. That's just great.
Don't worry. No, once you get off the
I
line, we're
panicked.
going to start throwing shit behind your back.
I had some questions, but I panicked.
No more questions. Let's stitch up. Actually, Ryan's got 12 more questions for you. Go.
No, I'm panicking. I'm getting nervous now.
Funny.
Nah, thanks very
No,
much,
thanks
Grace.
for having me, guys.
All the best.
Thank you. See you.
Mate.
Wonderful, Grace Hamilton, everybody.
Woo! Yeah, the girls.
I hope Millie
She's
paid for
gone.
breakfast, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
That was my next question. She's gone.
Oh,
Can you imagine if she did stitch
That
up
NRL
behind?
money, right?
yeah.
Extra egg and bacon.
Yeah. And halloumi.
Whoa!